Показує, що є кабінет.
Це ваші.
Так, трансляція почалася онлайн. Зараз вас всі будуть бачити. Зараз уже YouTube нас буде показувати.
Дякую, Тетяна. Приймав посилання.
Дякую.
Так, через хвилину починаємо вже.
Починаємо вже.
Шановні члени спеціалізованої вченої ради, доброго дня, ради вас вітати. Сьогодні у нас 16 лютого 2023 року, 13:00. Дозвольте розпочати засідання. Наказом ректора номер 418К від 2.11.22 року у Сумському національному аграрному університеті утворено спеціалізовану вчену раду для прийняття до розгляду та проведення разового захисту дисертації Вань-Янь на тему розробка та впровадження тест-смужок для виявлення подвійних залишків афлатоксину B1 та зоринолу. Англійською мовою тема звучить Development and preliminary application of test strip so the detection of double residues of aflatoxin B1 and zorinol. На здобуття ступеня доктора філософії з галузі знань 21 ветеринарна медицина зі спеціальності 211 ветеринарна медицина. Склад ради, голова ради Шкрамада Оксана Іванівна, доктор ветеринарних наук, професор, завідувач кафедри акушерства і хірургії Сумського національного аграрного університету. Це я. Рецензенти: Березовський Андрій Володимирович, доктор ветеринарних наук, професор кафедри ветсанекспертизи, мікробіології, зоогігієни та безпеки якості продуктів тваринництва, Сумський національний аграрний університет. Петров Роман Вікторович, доктор ветеринарних наук, професор, завідувач кафедри вірусології, патанатомії та хвороб птиці, Сумський національний аграрний університет. Опоненти: Ващик Євгенія Володимирівна, доктор ветеринарних наук, професор, завідувач кафедри ветеринарної медицини та фармації, Національний фармацевтичний університет. Тарас Михайлович Царенко, кандидат ветеринарних наук, доцент, завідувач кафедри епізоотології та інфекційних хвороб, Білоцерківський національний аграрний університет. І так, отже, у нас присутні всі 5 членів спеціалізованої ради, кворум необхідний для засідання є, і ми маємо всі офіційні підстави для того, щоб розпочати засідання. Засідання спеціалізованої вченої ради оголошується відкритим. На порядку денному питання захист дисертації аспірантки денної форми навчання кафедри ветсанекспертизи, мікробіології, зоогігієни та безпеки якості продуктів тваринництва Сумського національного аграрного університету Вань-Янь. На здобуття ступеня доктора філософії з галузі знань 21 ветеринарна медицина зі спеціальності 211 ветеринарна медицина. Тема дисертації – розробка та впровадження тест-смужок для виявлення подвійних залишків афлатоксину B1 та зоринолу. Науковий керівник, доктор ветеринарних наук, професор кафедри ветсанекспертизи, мікробіології, зоогігієни та безпеки якості продуктів тваринництва Сумського національного аграрного університету Отіна Ганна Анатоліївна. До спеціалізованої вченої ради надійшли такі документи. Заява щодо проведення атестації здобувача, копія першої сторінки паспорта громадянина Китайської Народної Республіки, копія диплома магістра, витяг з наказу про зарахування до аспірантури, засвідчений у встановленому порядку, академічна довідка про виконання відповідної освітньо-наукової програми, висновок наукового керівника, висновок про наукову новізну, теоретичне та практичне значення результатів дисертації. Дисертація в друкованому та електронному вигляді. Відбитки копій наукових публікацій, зарахованих за темою дисертації, засвідчені у встановленому порядку. Всі документи відповідають встановленим вимогам. Дисертація до захисту подається вперше. Хто за запропонований порядок денний, прошу проголосувати. Хто за? Проти? Утримався? Немає. Пропозиція приймається одноголосно. Дозвольте зачитати біографічні дані аспіранта. Ван Янянь, 1989 року народження, громадянка Китайської Народної Республіки, освіта вища. Закінчила у 2017 році Хінанський інститут науки та технологій Китайської Народної Республіки за спеціальністю клінічна ветеринарна медицина. У жовтні 2018 року була зарахована до аспірантури Сумського національного аграрного університету. Дисертацію виконано на кафедрі ветсанекспертизи, мікробіології, зоогієни, безпеки і якості продуктів тваринництва у Сумському національному аграрному університеті. Тему дисертації затверджено в редакції останні 3 жовтня 2022 року на засіданні вченої ради Сумського національного аграрного університету. Аспірантура закінчена була у 2022 році в Сумському національному аграрному університеті в місті Суми. 6 жовтня 2022 року був проведений фаховий семінар з апробації дисертації на кафедрі ветсанекспертизи, мікробіології, зоогієни, безпеки і якості продуктів тваринництва за спеціальністю 211 ветеринарна медицина, на якому дисертацію було рекомендовано до розгляду та захисту у разовій спеціалізованій вченій раді. Основні положення викладені у 15 наукових публікаціях за темою дисертації. З них 3 статті у наукових фахових виданнях України, 5 у журналах, які входять до міжнародних наукометричних баз даних Scopus та Web of Science, і 7 в інших публікаціях. Наукові публікації відповідають вимогам пункту 8.9 порядку присудження ступеня доктора філософії та скасування рішення разової спеціалізованої вченої ради закладу вищої освіти наукових установ про присудження ступеня доктора філософії. Постанова Кабміну України від 12 січня 2022 року номер 44. Дисертація відповідає вимогам наказу МОН України номер 40 від 12.01.17 року про затвердження вимог до оформлення дисертації та порядку присудження ступеня доктора філософії та скасування рішення разової спеціалізованої вченої ради закладу вищої освіти наукової установи про присудження ступеня доктора філософії. Постанова Кабміну від 12 січня 2022 року номер 44. Чи є питання у членів спеціалізованої ради стосовно викладеного? Немає. І здобувачем погоджено, що захист дисертації буде відбуватись англійською мовою. Для викладу основних положень результатів дослідження слово надається аспірантці Ван Янянь. To present the main results of the research, the word of given to graduate student Ван Янянь. Please, Ван Янянь.
Okay, thank you.
Дякую. Так, це знаю.
Good afternoon, dear professors. Thank you for attending my defense. Let me introduce myself. I am Wang Yanan from Faculty of Veterinary Medicine. My research topic is development and preliminary application of immunochromatography test strips for the detection of double residues of aflatoxin B1 and zearalenone. My scientist supervisor is Hannah Fatina. Here is my content. There are 5 parts. The first part is relevance of the topic. Well, at the present, mycotoxins widely exist in the natural environment. Contamination of green food, the feed raw materials, and compound feed product. Among the more than 400 mycotoxins reported so far, the aflatoxin B1, abbreviated to AFB1, and zearalenone, abbreviated to ZEN, are the 2 most important mycotoxins with the wide pollution and great harm. Those 2 pictures are the structures of the AFB1 and ZEN. And the toxicity of the AFB1 acute poisoning, the chronic poisoning, the carcinogenicity, etc. And the toxicity of the ZEN, a reproductive toxicity, the genetic toxicity, and etc. Well, there are several ways to detect AFB1 and ZEN residues. The detection method include physical chemical analysis and immunoassay. In my research, I choose the colloidal gout immunochromatographic assay, abbreviated GICA method, because the GICA technology has the advantage of the fast, the simple, on-site operation, the mode of detections, and a large amount of screen samples, and shows a broad development prospect. The second part is my research purpose and the tasks. My research aim is to establish a colloidal gout immunochromatographic test strip detection method for AFB1 and ZEN double residues, so as to provide the rapid detection technical support for ensuring the safety of cereal food and feed. In my research, I have the 4 tasks. The task 1, preparation of immunogens and coating antigens of AFB1 and ZEN. And the task 2, preparation of AFB1 and ZEN monoclonal antibody. The task 3, preparation of the gold-labeled monoclonal antibodies and establish the double residue test strip detection method for AFB1 and ZEN. The last task, the practicability and reliability of the AFB1 and ZEN double residues test strip detection methods are evaluated. Well, objectives and methods are the 3 parts in my research. The object of study is development and preliminary application of dual residue test strips for AFB1 and ZEN. And in my research, I use the micrological, the toxicological, the material chemical methods, etc. This is my research technology route. The first part is research results and analysis. And in these sections, there are 5 content. The first is heptene molecular design, the antigen synthesis and identifications of AFB1. Well, according to the AFB1's chemical properties, we use 6 methods to synthesize the AFB1 immunogen. After that, we use several methods to identify the AFB1 immunogens. From the UV scan and molecular, the binding ratios of the AFB1 immunogens by 6 methods, the result showed that the immunogens was successfully prepared. The second determination is SDS page. The result showed that the bands of the 6 immunogens could be judged. The synthesis of the AFB1 BSA was successful. Well, after immunizing the mice with the prepared immunogen, we need to identify the titer of the monoclonal antibody produced in mice. I use in-ELISA methods to identify the titers of the AFB1 monoclonal antibody. The result showed the AFB1 immunogens all had the good immunogenicity by the 6 methods. The next is sensitivity determination of the AFB1. We use the assay-ELISA method, obtained the regressions in quotient R squared, the half maximal inhibitory concentration, abbreviated to IC50. The result showed the 6 immunized mice. they all had the good learner relationship, but the OAE group has the best sensitivity. Specificity identification, they also use the assay lesson method. Finally, from the cross reaction of AFB1 and its analogs, the result shows that the 6 methods all could recognize the AFB1, the 100%, and the OAE methods had the better specificity. And then use the same methods to synthesize and identification of the ZEN. According to the ZEN's chemical property, we choose the 5 methods to synthesize the ZEN immunogen. About identification of the ZEN, the same detection method as the AFB1. While under UV identification, the 5 methods could synthesize the artificial immunogen, ZEN-BSA. After the successful prepared the ZEN immunogens was also verified by SDS page. The 5 round immunizations use the assay lesson method, detect and obtain the AGN method's titer was highest. This slide is sensitivity of the ZEN monoclonal and monoclonal antibody. And this is the specificity identification of the ZEN. We use the assay lesson method, obtain the best immunogens. Synthesize the method was AGA method. The third content is preparation and identification of the AFB1 monoclonal antibody. In this part, we use the self-fusion technology to obtain the positive hybridomers, and then screen the positive hybridomers for AFB1, and named it as 2A11, 2F6, and 3G2 respectively. The next step is to identify the performance of these 3 hybridomer cells. The first is karyotype determination. Well, we know the hybridomer cells were myeloma NS0 cells and mouse spleen cells. After fused, the hybridomer cells, their chromosomes were more than those of the individual cells. The second determination is S-type analysis, using the mouse monoclonal STP kit to identify the 3 strains of the AFB1 monoclonal antibody. About stability determination, the picture A shows the titers and the IC50 values. The picture B is the AFB1 monoclonal antibodies secreted by the 3 hybridomers after 5 froze thaw cycles. And above all the 2 experiments, we obtained the hybridomer cells were genetically stable. Titer measurement choose the 2A11 strains was the highest. And the next is affinity testing. While affinities often indicates the binding ability of the antigen and antibodies, it is usually expressed the affinity constant Ka. Affinity. The result shows that the 3 hybridomers were high affinity antibodies. The sensitivity and specificity of the AFB1, we selected AFB1 monoclonal antibody 2A11 as the further prepared test strip. Similarly, we obtained the stable hybridomer cells 2B6 and 4D9 used to produce the monoclonal antibodies for ZEN. And through the following detection methods: S-type, affinity, the titer measurement, stability determination, and the sensitivity specificity determination. We finally decided to use the ZN monoclonal antibodies 2B6 as the further prepared the test strip. The last content in this part is establish of the AFB1 and ZN dual residue test strips method. We use the sodium citrate reduction method to prepare the colloidal gold. And by visual observation, the UV identification and the electron microscope to identify the colloidal gold. And the next is preparation of the colloidal gold labeled monoclonal antibodies of those two toxins. The result showed the optimal binding pH of the AFB1 and the colloidal gold was 6.5, and the optimal labeling concentration was about 7 microgram per milliliter. The UV scan result also identifies the optimal labeling for AFB1 monoclonal antibody is 7 microgram per milliliter. ZN's optimal pH values and colloidal gold was 7, and the optimal labeling concentration of the ZN was 3.5 microgram per milliliter. Well, the next work is assemble the two toxins residue test strips. These two pictures are the schematic diagram of the test strip. The C line expresses the control line of the test strip, and T1 line expresses the AFB1, and the T2 line expresses the ZEN. Well, before the assembling the strips, we need to know the performance. The first is a single test strip determination. The sensitivity of the result shows that the law of the detection of the AFB1 test strip was 1 microgram per milliliter. And similarly, the ZN was 5 microgram per milliliter. This part shows that the specificity of the AFB1 and ZN, the result showed all had the high specificity, had no cross reaction with its analogs and other macrotoxins, as well as the stability measurement of the AFB1 and ZN test strips. The results showed were completely consistent, no matter the AFB1 or ZN test strips, all had the good stability. The validity analysis results showed that the appearance and accuracy of the test strips had not changed within the 6 months under the conditions of the 4 centigrade and the 25 centigrade room temperature, and there were no false positives and false negatives. The purpose of my study is to successfully prepare the double detection strips. The result were showing the visual sensitivity of the AFB1 and the ZEN of the dual test strips were 1 nanogram per milliliter and the 5 nanogram per milliliter respectively. We choose the 6 batches of the double test strips to determine these samples. The test results were completely consistent, indicating that the double test strips had the good stability. The validity measurement of the double test strips, we can see even on 180 days, the color of the T1 line and the T2 line were lighter. However, can stored by this temperature. The conformity measurement, we choose the 20 positive samples and 60 natural samples were detected and verified by dual test strip methods and HPLC-MS for MS method. The two detection methods were completely consistent, and the coincidence rate was 100%. The last part is my conclusion. In my research, we have completely the 4 research tasks, achieve the research objectives, provide the scientific research technicals, and looked forward to the futures of research development. That's all my report. Thank you for attention. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Янань. Зараз ми з вами починаємо дискусії і будемо задавати запитання. Я прошу всіх долучитись до дискусії, всі члени спеціалізованої вченої ради. Будь ласка, answer the questions. Євгенія Владимировна, ваші, будь ласка.
Thank you. Dear Wang Yan, you represented very interesting results of your scientific research, and I have a few questions for you. The first question, why did you choose the established immunochromatographic paper test in your scientific research? And the second question for you is, how many immunogen aflatoxin B1 and zearalenone were synthesized in your study, and what was the result? What was the result? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your question, professors. About questions 1. At present, the methods used for the determination of the mycotoxins mainly include the physicochemical analysis and immunoassay. But physicochemical analysis methods have some advantages, but these advantages obviously, and those methods require the expensive instrument, the treat personal and complex on-site operations. Immunochromatographic test papers use GICA technology, and its advantages are the faster, the simple, the on-site operations, and the low cost, etc. advantages. So I choose the established immunochromatographic test paper in my research. About the question 2, I think in my research, according to the chemical properties and molecular structures of the AFB1, I choose the 6 methods to synthesize the AFB1 and the 5 methods to synthesize the ZN, and choose the best immunogens to prepare the monoclonal antibodies for those 2 toxins. Finally, I chose the AFB1's best synthesis immunogens is OAE method, and the ZN was the AJ method. That's my answers, Professor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Evgenia Vladimirovna, are you satisfied with your with the answer?
Yes, I am satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. Next official opponent, Taras Mikhailovich, будь ласка, please you answer your questions.
Thank you, Oksana. Dear Wang Yanan. I have questions about the use experimental animals in your research study. And please explain why do you choose mice as experimental animal in this study?
Пишите, що зараз проберіть.
And why not more largest experimental animals in order to obtain the more antibodies, more serum and more antibodies?
Я вас спрашиваю.
And how many animals we use in experimental research in total? And what about the requirements and rules of bioethics in your research? It's a few questions, please.
Okay. I got it. Thank you for your questions, professors. About questions 1, actually, the experimental animals I use to be in my research. I use the experimental animals in 2 stages. The first stage is to immunize animals with synthesized immunogens to prepare the polo antibodies. And in this stage, we can use BBC mice or other experimental animals. The result of the experiment of these animals are consistent. But the second stage is immunize animals with selected immunogen to prepare the monoclonal antibody. So, according to the preparation, the principle of the monoclonal antibodies, the BBC mice and the Lucy rat are genetically deficient animals, so they are more suitable than other animals. And about question 2, in my research, I total use the 71 BBC mice. And these experimental animals were raised in the laboratory, kept the room temperature, the sanitization, and the best light conditions. And all the experimental were approved by the animal ethics community of the Henan Academic of the Science and Technology, and followed the measurement for the administrators of the experiment animals in Henan province, China. That's my answer. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. I am satisfied with the answer. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Янань. Please, questions, Roman Viktorovich Petrov.
Thank you very much. I have a few questions. First question: how did you prepare high specifically and high sensitive monoclonal antibodies against AFB1 and ZEN? What does this mean? And second question: what is the performance of AFB1 and then double recite immunochromatography tests stay prepared prior to research? And how is the actual application result, and whether is relative? What is the significance? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. Thank you for your questions, Professor. About question 1, specificity and sensitivity are the 2 main indicators to evaluate the characteristic of the monoclonal antibodies. And according to the chemical property and the molecular structure of AFB1 ZN, the 6 cans of the AFB1 immunogens and the 5 methods ZN were synthesized the immunogens respectively. a screening system for the positive hybridoma cells was established by the cell fusion technology and the monoclonal antibodies with the high specificity and the sensitivity to these two toxins prepared. About the second questions, my answer is it's actually in my studies, AFB1 and ZN double residues test strip detection method finally is established. Yeah, and this method has those advantages of the rapid, the high sensitivity, high specificity. In those test strips established in my study is suitable for rapid and simultaneous detection of the AFB1 and ZN. The research result, I think, provide the technical support for food and feed safety monitoring, and also provide the useful reference for the similar research. That's all. I hope you can satisfy my answers. Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you, Yanan. Roman Victorovich, are you satisfied?
Thank you. I am satisfied.
I also have a few questions. Describe the relevance and novelty of your research. How did you choose AFB1 and then double residues as detection targets in your study? Next questions. In your study, who did you choose in vivo ascids induction to prepare mononuclear antibodies? That reagent in choose to triad mice. Next questions. That scientific research project have you revised for your research? Has it been approved by Sumy National Agrarian University? And has the research of Ukrainian and Chinese scientists been included in the literature review? Please, Yanan,
Okay.
answer the questions, please.
So, teacher, you asked me the 4 questions. Okay, I'm about.
Yes.
Thank you for your questions, Professor. Thank you very much. About my research's relevance of the novelty. Actually, in my research, the theoretical and practical, the issue is relevant. That's because among the so many microtoxins reported, the AFB1 and ZN are the 2 toxins with the widest pollution. According to the previous research results, it is dedicated to the development and implementation of test strips for detection of the double residues of AFB1 and ZN. About novelty, there are the 3 parts in my research, I think. The first, I choose the better immunogen synthesis method. The second is the screen of the monoclonal antibodies. And the last is establish the good detection method, I think. About I choose the AFB1 and the ZN residues as my detection target. I think maybe there are 3 reasons for some reasons. The first is the most because of the 2 toxins widely polluted and the most the toxic toxins, and the most country in the world have the set maximum permitted levels and corresponding detection technology method. And the second, compare with homologs of those two toxins. They are the most widely polluted and most toxic could mean the target of the detection. The third, with rapid development, the people found the contamination of the AFB and ZEN usually exist in the contamination of the food and the feed. So I think it is necessary to establish the dual residue detection method for AFB1 and ZEN. And about the questions, the question 3, I choose in vivo assays inductions to prepare the monoclonal antibodies. Yes. Because the advantage of because this method has a simple operation, the low cost, the short cycle, the high antibody, the concentration and the high yield. So this method I choose in vivo induced assays. Yeah. However, in the preparation of the monoclonal antibodies, I use 2 regions, friends incomplete adjuvant and the liquid paraffin, and compare the 2 regions effects. I choose the friends incomplete adjuvant to treat the mice. Yeah. And the last questions. The actual materials of the dissertations, conclusions, and the purpose were approved at the annual scientific reports and the conference of the teaching staff and postgraduate student of the Sumy National Agricultural University. The research of Ukraine's and Chinese scientists were included in the literature review. And at the same time, the research results of the scientists from the other country in the field were also included in the literature review. Yes, that's my answer. Professor, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Yanan. I am satisfied. Кого ще є питання до аспіранта? Якщо немає, дякую. No more questions, thanks. Дозвольте мені ознайомити присутніх із висновком про наукову новизну, теоретичне та практичне значення результатів дисертації. Let me acquaint those present with the conclusion about the scientific novelty, theoretical and practical significance of the result of the thesis. Висновок про наукову новизну, теоретичне та практичне значення дисертації аспіранта Development and Preliminary application of thesis 3 for the detection of double results of aflatoxin B1 and zorinol. Розробка та впровадження тест-смужок I'm sorry, у нас вибило, прошу вибачення, вибило Zoom, продовжуємо. І так, подано на здобуття наукового ступеня доктора філософії за галузю знань 21 ветеринарна медицина, спеціальності 211 ветеринарна медицина. Висновок підготовлений згідно вимог. Робота актуальна, актуальність роботи доведена. Зв'язок доведений, вказаний зв'язок роботи з науковими планами темами Сумського національного аграрного університету і також підтверджена наукова новизна отриманих результатів. в науковій новизні вказано, що вперше було порівняно та проаналізовано імунореактивність та характеристики антитіл імуногенних, синтезованих різними методами афлатоксину B1 та зариному. І також відібрані найкращі імуногени для отримання високоспецифічних антитіл та класу специфічних антитіл з широкого спектру дії. Розроблені специфічні тест-смужки з подвійним залишком афлатоксину і ізоанинону. Перевірена їх практичність, застосування і відповідність. Також вказано теоретичне та практичне значення результатів дисертації. Вказано використання результатів в роботі, доведена особиста участь автора у написанні дисертаційного дослідження. Вказаний перелік публікацій за темою дисертації. Зазначено, що за матеріалами дисертаційної роботи було опубліковано 15 наукових праць, в тому числі 3 статті в наукових фахових виданнях України, 5 статей в журналах, які віднесені до науково-метричних баз Scopus та Web of Science, 2 статті в наукових фахових виданнях Народної Республіки, 4 тезиси наукової доповіді і 1 методичні рекомендації. Вказаний перелік публікованих праць. Також вказано, що робота пройшла звіт-аналіз перевірки на плагіат, на наявність текстових запозичень. Рецензенти дійшли висновку, що дисертаційна робота Ван Янянь на тему Development and Preliminary Application of Thesis 3 for the Detection of Double Results of Aflatoxin B1 and Zarinone є результатом самостійних досліджень здобувача і не містить елементів плагіату та запозичень. Згідно постанови Кабінету міністрів України від 12.01.2022 року, номер 4 пункту 9. Використані ідеї, результати, тексти інших авторів мають посилання на відповідне джерело. Тому, перелічуючи, бажаючи все вище вказано, вважаємо, що дисертаційна робота Ван Янянь на тему Development of Preliminary Application of Thesis 3 of the Detection of Double Results of Aflatoxin B1 and Zarinone, розробка та впровадження текст-смужок для виявлення подвійних залишків афлатоксину B1 та Zarinone, філософіями, за своїм науковим рівнем та практичною цінністю, змістом та оформленням повністю відповідає вимогам щодо оформлення дисертації і року номер 40 України від 31.05.2019 759 зі змінами і доповненнями та дослідження аграрного університету розпочинаємо обговорення дисертаційної роботи. The begin the discussion of the dissertation work by Ван Янянь. Слово надається професору, доктору ветеринарних наук професору Березовському Андрію Володимировичу. Please, професор Березовський.
Дякую за презентацію. Оцінюючи дисертаційну роботу пані Ван, хочу висловити деякі коментарі та отримати відповіді на окремі запитання, які виникли під час знайомства з дисертацією.
Thank you for the presentation. Evaluating the dissertation work of Ms. Yanang Wang, I would like to make some comments and get answers to some questions that arose during the work on her dissertation.
Перше. Усі дані, отримані за допомогою методів вимірювання, бажано було б виражати в міжнародних одиницях СІ.
The first one is desirable to express all data obtained from a measurement method in universal units C.
Чи погоджуєтесь ви, що розділ перший, огляд літератури, слід дещо розширити було б, та завершити більш обґрунтованим висновком.
Would you agree that section 1, literature review, would be better expanded and concluded with a well-founded conclusion?
Третє. На нашу думку, в розділі матеріали і методи доцільніше було б навести загальну схему досліджень.
In our opinion, it would be better to provide a general scheme of research in the material and method section.
І заключне слід зазначити, що висловлені зауваження абсолютно не впливають на позитивну оцінку роботи, оскільки не стосуються суті роботи та не впливають на висновок і пропозиції по застосуванню.
It should be noted that the comments expressed do not affect the positive evaluation because they do not relate to the essence of the thesis and do not affect the conclusion and proposals for practical use.
Дякую.
Thank you.
Дякуємо, професор Березовський. Вам надається можливість відповісти на зауваження, які були викладені у рецензії рецензента. You are given the opportunity to respond to comments that have been posted in the reviewer's review. Please, Ван Янянь.
Okay,
So, please.
thank you,
Answer the
Professor.
questions.
Thank you for your valuable guidance, Professor. I fully agree with your comments. And about the questions, one about literature review would be better expanded and conclude with the well-founded conclusions. Actually, in the first section, literature reviews of my dissertations, I should focus on the purpose and significance of my research, the expected research objectives and the further application of the research result, and on this basis, the conclude a well-founded conclusion. And you also propose that I should be better to provide the general scheme of the research in the materials and method section. Well, thank you for your valuable guidance, and I totally agree with your comment. And just now, in my report, the technical road slide is the overall research scheme of my study. And in my dissertations on pages 78 and in the sections of 1.18 conclusions from the literary review, I also described the overall research scheme of this study. But according to your opinion, it is really necessary to provide an overall research scheme in the form of a technical roadmap, which is more convenient for readers to read. I hope you can accept my explanation. Thank you very much, dear Professor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ян Ванянь. Ви задоволені відповіддю, Андрій Володимирович?
Так, звичайно, я сказав, окей, thank you.
Андрій, так,
Yes,
у нас
this is
зависає
fine.
інтернет, прошу вибачення. Дякуємо. Далі слово надається наступному рецензенту. I invite review to speak професор Роман Вікторович Петров. Будь ласка.
Thank you very much. Response of the review for dissertation of Unit 1, development on primary application of immunochromatography test strips for detection of aflatoxin B1 and Lenon. That was submitted for obtain the scientific degree of Doctor of Philosophy of the one-time academic Council and Sumy National Agrarian University, field of knowledge 21, veterinary medicine, specialty 211, veterinary medicine. In our opinion, tables and graphs should not be used in the first and four chapters, but limited to verbal description of the author's latest research on this topic.
one in Fiji 3.12 and 3.31, which depict objects on the microscopy. In our Operon, it was indicated the magnification. I would like to know about the economist effects of the user, the proposed diagnostic strip. It should be noted the comments expressed do not affect the positive evolution of the work because they is not really to the essence of this and do not affect the conclusion and proposal for production. Thank you.
Дякуємо. You are given the opportunity to respond to comments that have been posted in the reviewer's review. Ван Янян.
Okay, I will respond to these questions. Thank you for your valuable guidance. I fully agree with your comment. And about questions in figure 3.12 and the 3.31, when observing the chromosomes, the hybridomas, the magnifications of the microscope is 400 times. And when observing the colloidal gold particles, the magnifications of the microscope is 25,000 times. According to your advice, the magnifications of the microscope must be indicated in the future research work. Yeah. And the next question is about the economic efficiency of using the proposed the strips. Well, I think the economic benefit of the test strips mainly include the first I think is direct economic benefit, because according to my survey, the production's cost of the test strips is about 5 yuan RMB for each in China. And but in current market, the selling price is about 10 yuan, even higher yuan for each. And the price of the testing of the samples with the strip is about 10 yuan, but use the same samples with the HPLC per MS methods to testing is about 260 yuan. And third, through the promotion and application of this product, it can improve the ability of the food and feed safety monitoring, ensuring the health of the consumers. So I think it has a significant the social benefit. I hope you can accept my answers. Thank you very much, dear professor.
Thank you, Ivan. Are you satisfied with the answer?
Thank you very much. I am satisfied.
Thank you. Я запрошую до виступу офіційного опонента. I invite an official opponent to speak, Doctor of Veterinary Science, Professor Ващик Евгения Володимировна.
Thank you. Thank you.
Евгения Володимировна.
Yes, thank you. Response of the official opponent on the PhD thesis Yanan 1 on the topic development and preliminary application of immunochromatography test strips for the detection of double residues of aflatoxin B1 and zearalenone, submitted for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field of Knowledge 21 Veterinary Medicine in the specialty 211 Veterinary Medicine. Evaluating positively, Yanan Wan's PhD thesis on the topic development of preliminary application of immunochromatography test strips for the detection of double results of aflatoxin B1 and zearalenone, I would like to make certain short comments and get answers to some questions. The first question, not all abbreviations are deciphered in the text and presented in the list abbreviations. For example, MABS, monoclonal antibody, or considerably the decipherment of some repeated in the text. For example, Food and Agriculture Organization of United repetition of phrases in the text of a dissertation. For example, we can recommend, source and others. The third, in the subsection approbation of dissertation result, the scientific journal is indicated instead of name of conference. It is Journal of Sumy National Agrarian University. The first error we noted is counting the total number of tables, figures, and pages. The fifth, in the dissertation, the presentation of results of own research in the work often begins directly with a reference to the figure or table. For example, the results were shown in figure and the result of were shown in table. It is recommended in our opinion, it is recommended to start the presentation of results with introductory sentences or actuality with the analysis and formulation of result with a subsequent reference in the text to the corresponding table or figure. And I have a few questions for you. The first question, what is the priority of problem of detecting double results of aflatoxin B1 and zearalenone and prospect for the use of the present immunochromatographic test strips in Ukraine, China, and the world? And the next question, do you have perspective plan to develop analogous diagnostic for other mycotoxins? And I want to say the above comments do not reduce the positive assessment of PhD thesis because they do not relate the essence of dissertation work and do not reflect on conclusions and proposals for production. And the question posed are clarifying and debatable. Thank you.
Thank you, Evgenia Volodymyrivna. Are you given the opportunity to respond to comments that have been posted in the reviewers' official opponents? Please, Yanan.
Okay. Thank you for carefully review my thesis and giving me those valuable suggestions. I totally agree with your comment. Thank you very much. I will answer the questions. Well, some of the problems in my dissertations, you mentioned like the not all abbreviations in the list of the abbreviations, and there are repeated phrases, and even the errors were noted in the counting in total number of the table, the figures, and pages. Well, because a large amount of the work in my dissertations, and the continual modifications and improvement, there are indeed errors or problems with the process. Yeah, and first, I apologize for my carelessness, and then I will pay more attention to these details when writing the academic papers in the future. Another question is you state the prioritize the problems of the detecting double residues of the two test strips respected for use in Ukraine, China, and the world. Yeah. Actually, in recent years, the test strips technology has developed rapidly and already becomes a mature test method. In these diagnosis, the food safety detection and environmental pollutions monitoring. And the test strips products that also have been widely used in the world. That include Ukraine, China, and other countries. So the AFB1 and ZN double residues test strips established in my study has I think has a broad applications prospect. Yeah, and about my plan, yeah, next plan, yeah. Actually, during my postgraduate studies, I have complete the research of the total aflatoxin detections, yeah. And during my PhD study, I have completely the research on AFB1 and ZEN specificity double residues. And I think in my future research work, I plan to focus research the fumarzen B1 and T2 toxins. Yeah, in basis of this study, I hope establishment the motor residue test strips to detect the products and also to provide technical support for ensuring the food and the feed safety. That's the all answers. Thank you very much. I hope you were satisfied my answers. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much for your answer. It's very perspective direct of your future scientific result. Yes, thank you. I am satisfied of your answer. Thank you.
Thank you. I need an official opponent to speak. Tsarenko Taras Mikhailovich, please.
Dear colleague, dear dissertant, my response as official opponent of the dissertation work Yanan Wang, development of the preliminary application of test strip of the detection of double residue of aflatoxin B1 and zearalenone. I need say I would confirm that all the mandatory part of the dissertation is meet the requirements and are well presented. I have some notice. First, I agree with Professor Berezovsky about the use in the work C system is will be better. Use a decimeter and centimeter and milliliter is some controversial. And next, my notice about the abbreviation, about the half of abbreviation in the text not presented in the list of abbreviation. This abbreviation one at a time by the text is decoded, but not displayed in the list of symbol. And my question about the use experimental animal in research and about the bioethics rules and requirement already answered. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I given the opportunity to respond to comments that have been posted in the reviewers official opponents.
Okay.
Elena.
Yeah. And thank you for carefully reviewing my dissertations and giving me those valuable advice. I totally agree with your comment. Yes, I will answer the questions as well. During my dissertation's writing, I did not pay attention to use the C system. Yeah. In my thesis, these units I used actually derived from the C system, and also commonly used in international academic journals. But it is also true that there is a lack of the standardizations. Yeah. And in the future scientific research and academic writing, I will pay attention to use the C system. Yeah. And another questions, selections of immunized animals, I choose the BBC mice over guinea pigs and the goats. I think there are two reasons. The firstly is to save the cost of the immunization and the animal feeding. Yeah. And the second is to preparation the principle of the monoclonal antibodies. We all know the BBC mice and the Lucy rat are genetically deficient animals. So I think they are more suitable than other animals. So I chose the BBC mice. Yeah, and that's my answer. Thank you, dear professor. I hope you are satisfied with my answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I am satisfied, and I should be noted that my comments expressed do not affect the positive evaluation of the work, because they are not related to the essential and of the thesis, and do not affect the conclusion and proposal and production, and just the writing. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Тарас Михайлович. За регламентом роботи спеціалізованої вченої ради переходимо до дискусії дисертаційної роботи Ван Янянь. Наголошено тому, що в дискусії приймають участь всі присутні члени вченої ради, тому прошу, хто має бажання висловити з приводу даної роботи. According to the rules of the work of specialized academic council, the proceed to the discussion of the thesis of Wang Yanyan. I emphasize that all present members of the academic council have the right to take part in the discussion. Therefore, I ask those who want to speak out about this work. Now, please, Doctor Veterinary Science Professor Андрій Володимирович Березовський.
Оцінюючи, вертаючи ще раз до оцінки дисертації пані Явань Вонг, розробка імунографічних тест смужок для виявлення подвійних залишків афлатоксину Б1 ізоареленову, слідує сказати, що дисертація повністю відповідає вимогам, які сьогодні існують до дисертації доктора філософії. Дякую.
Evaluation of the dissertation of Yan Wang, development and preliminary application of immunochromatography test strips for the detection of double residues of aflatoxin B1 and zearalenone, fully meets the requirements for the dissertation of Doctor of Philosophy. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, Doctor of Veterinary Science Professor Roman Viktorovich Petrov.
Thank you. The dissertation work of Wang Yan development of primary application of
immunochromatography test strip for detection of double residue of aflatoxin B1 and zearalenone. Is completed scientific research work in terms of level and scientific knowledge, theoretical and practical significance of the obtained results. It meet a requirement for design of this the procedure for awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Thank you.
Дякуємо, Роман Вікторович. Next, official opponent, Doctor of Veterinary Science, Євгенія Володимирівна Ващик, please.
Thank you. Yanyan Wang's PhD thesis on the topic development of preliminary application of immunochromatography test strips for the detection of double residues of aflatoxin B1 and zearalenone was performed at the appropriate level is complete scientific research work. According to relevant scientific novelty, theoretical and practical significance of obtained result, it meets the requirement for the design of thesis and the procedure for awarding the degree of Doctor Philosophy. Thank you.
Thank you, Євгенія Володимировна. Next, official opponent, Тарас Михайлович Старенко, please.
Thank you. The dissertation of Yanyan Wang, development of the preliminary application of test strips of the detection of double residue of aflatoxin B1 and zearalenone is have the scientific novelty, theoretical and practical significance. Practical significance in the high level. Obtained results in the meet the requirements. This dissertation is a complete scientific work. The design of the thesis is meet the requirements. The methods meet the requirements too. And my opinion to procedure, this thesis meets the requirement of procedure for awaiting for the degree Doctor of Philosophy approved by the resolution of Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine. I confirm this dissertation is can be approved. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Taras Mikhailovich. I invite tutors Hanna Anatolievna to speak, please.
Дякую, шановна Оксана Іванівна. Hey, good afternoon, dear members of the Specialized Council, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words about my PhD student, Yanyan Wang, and about her research. So first of all, of course, I want to say thank you to our opponents and reviewers for their work and support, for the valid and fair comments and questions. Thank you for your time. We very appreciate. And I want to say that I have never been supervisor of Chinese PhDs before. So it was a great experience for me, and I was excited and I really enjoyed. It was not easy, but it was very, very good experience, and it was a good job, I hope. Okay, so now I want to say some words about Yanyan. I want to thank to Yanyan for her hard work and for her perseverance. Yanyan, very hardworking, literate and decent graduate student. She entered graduate courses in 2019 and spent her first year in Ukraine. Together, we developed the plan and structure of her scientific research. During the year in Ukraine, she tried to get as much information as possible, attend as many conferences and seminars as possible. She took an active part in the life of our faculty. She spent the next 2 years in China doing her research. her Chinese supervisor helped her, supported her, organized her. And of course, I want to say thank you for him, for his support and for our cooperation. So thank you very much. We constantly communicated using the internet, so we communicated online. All results were discussed and then the dissertation was prepared for defense. I want to mark that Janine has done her research on a very relevant topic. The direction of her research is biological detection, technology for food, safety of animal origin products. So she processed a lot of researches, a lot of literatures, and conducted her research independently using modern equipment. I can say that her dissertation, her PhD thesis, is a completed research paper that has been completed in accordance with the stated purpose and objectives. The results obtained by her are highly informative and reliable, as it was obtained on a sufficient number of animals using effective research methods and meets the requirements for the design of dissertations and the procedure for awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. And yes, I told about this before in previous defense, but I want to repeat that unfortunately Yanan was not able to return to Ukraine as we think and as we hoped because of Russian invasion. And we hope that we will have possibility and we will have chance to cooperate in future after our victory. So because I believe and I'm sure that we will have this chance. And I want to thank you for Yanan for her moral support since February 24th. So thank you, dear Yanan. You was with me this terrible period, and you was with me period when I was in occupation. And I want to ask you, dear members of the Specialized Council, to support Yanan and her PhD work and award her the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Thank you for attention.
Thank you.
Оксана Іванівна.
Thank you, dear Анна Анатоліївна. Хто ще бажає виступити? Does anyone speak? Якщо немає заперечень, пропоную закінчити обговорення. If there are no objections, I suggest ending the discussion. Нами попередньо було розроблений проект рішення спеціалізованої вченої ради. Дозвольте його зачитати. Спеціалізована вчена рада Сумського національного аграрного університету Міністерства освіти та науки України міста Суми прийняла рішення про присудження ступеня доктора філософії з галузі знань 21 ветеринарна медицина на підставі прилюдного захисту дисертації розробка та впровадження тест-смушок для виявлення подвійних залишків флотоксину біодін та ЗРНО, development and preliminary application of the test strips for the detection of double resides of aflatoxin B1 and Zarinon за спеціальністю 211 ветеринарна медицина 16 лютого 2023 року. Ваня Нянь, 1989 року народження, громадянка Китайської Народної Республіки, освіта вища, закінчила у 2017 році Фінанський інститут науки та технології Китайської Народної Республіки за спеціальністю клінічна ветеринарна медицина. Аспірантуру закінчила у 2022 році Сумський національний аграрний університет Міністерства освіти і науки України міста Суми. Дисертацію виконано у Сумському національному аграрному університеті Міністерства освіти і науки України міста Суми. Науковий керівник Фотіна Ганна Анатоліївна, доктор ветеринарних наук, професор кафедри ветсанекспертизи, мікробіології, загігієни та безпеки якості продуктів тваринництва Сумського національного аграрного університету. Здобувач має 15 наукових публікацій за темою дисертації. З них 3 статті у фахових наукових виданнях України, 5 статей в журналах, які входять до міжнародних наукометричних баз Web of Science, Core Collection і 7 інші публікації. Чи є зауваження щодо проєкту рішення спеціалізованої вченої ради?
Немає.
Якщо немає, присудження Громада Оксана Іванівна, голосую за присудження ступеня доктора філософії Ваня Нянь. Ради, прошу, професор Березовський Андрій Володимирович.
Дякую, я оцінюю позитивно і голосую позитивно.
Дякуємо, професор Петро.
Я голосую позитивно за присутнє Ваня, доктор філософії. Дякую.
Дякуємо. Вашик Євгенія Молодець.
Дякую, я оцінюю позитивно. Мій голос позитивний. Голосую.
Да, говорит, но еще раз повторить, попросить повторить. Зависло. Попросить повторить.
Євгенія Володимирівна, я вас прошу повторіть, будь ласка, ще раз, тому що у нас тут є проблеми.
Поганий зв'язок, так, і я вас погано чую. Я голосую позитивно, мій голос позитивний. Оцінюю позитивно.
Дякуємо. Царенко Тарас Михайлович, просимо вас, як ви голосуєте.
Дякую, я оцінюю роботу позитивно, голосую позитивно.
Дякуємо. У нас за одноголосно проголосували всі 5 членів спеціалізованої вченої ради. Тому, шановні колеги, оголошуємо результати голосування про присудження Ваня Нянь ступеня доктора філософії з галузі знань 221 ветеринарна медицина, за спеціальністю 211 ветеринарна медицина. За 5 членів спеціалізованої ради. Проти немає. На підставі результатів відкритого голосування спеціалізована вчена рада присуджує Ваня Нянь ступінь доктора філософії з галузі знань 21 ветеринарна медицина, за спеціальністю 211 ветеринарна медицина. Чи є зауваження щодо рішення спеціалізованої вченої ради до голосування? Немає. Дозвольте привітати Ваня Нянь з успішним захистом дисертації. Based on the results of the open voting, the Specialist Academic Council of the Sumy National Agrarian University award Yanan Won the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field of knowledge 21 veterinary medicine with the specialty 211 veterinary medicine. Congratulate Yanan Won. Congratulate users, Ганна Анатоліївна.
Дякую.
Слово надається аспірантці Яні Анвон. I initiative to graduate student Ваня Нян, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, at the end of the defense clause, I would like to thank the reviewers, professors and opponents professors. Thank you for your careful review my dissertations and give my valuable suggestions. Yes, thank you. I give my graduate for your works. And finally, I would like to take this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude to my dear supervisor, Professor Hannah Fatina, and her mother, Professor Tajana Fatina. Thank you very much. Thank you for your help and support. Sorry. Thank you thank you for your help and support to my study in Sumy National Agricultural University. Yeah, with your help, I spent the very happy time in Sumy. Thank you so much to you and your mother. Sincerely again, thank you. Thank you, my teacher.
Дякуємо. Thank you, dear Яні Анвон. На цьому засідання спеціалізованих вчених. Say bye.
До побачення.
See you later.
Bye.
Дякую велике за вашу роботу, за нашу співпрацю. Бажаю всім всього найкращого.
Congratulations.